Hey everybody, Alexander Morgan here, but my friends call me Schmorgle, especially my friends on stream right now. This is going to be a low edit video. We're not going to be doing pretty much any editing because I'm tired. But we are going to go over the session super well, from the song super well, from the EP super well. And a few friends on stream are going to come along with me. Say hi to YouTube stream. So this session is very CPU intensive, especially while I am on OBS. So a lot of stuff is frozen in here, but we can at least get the gist of what I was messing with here. First and foremost, and most importantly, strings. Originally, I had some MIDI strings. The MIDI strings I had used in the song for a long time. I sent them off to my buddy who redid some arrangements. And we have a much better MIDI string sample that I wound up keeping in, very tucked. But this is pretty much the first thing that's supporting the track here. And this is all 4 instruments MIDI-wise on one track to support the real strings, which I comped here. And we had to do a lot of takes of this. You hear all that room tone? This part's really hard for string players to play. I wrote a very unfriendly part, and my lovely friend Max Maples, who is the other half of Noiru, was able to really help break it down and get these string players to play them reasonably. This is a quartet. It's 4 of them. There is a mic on each instrument and then 2 room mics. Really comped it hard here. Like, they have a lot of good takes here. Like, barely touched there. Like a little bit of funkiness on this chord too. It's a hard part, man. But they really nailed it. And it wound up just sitting really nicely with the MIDI strings. The next most obvious thing are the vocals, which I had demo vocals for this that were in nonsense speak for a very long time.
Haven't slept a wink since I said I'd start taking much better care of myself.
Not much tuning. Pretty light tuning. And this is the whole top of the song. That's the only thing that's really going on here.
Meditating.
Then this is the thing I had just as long. When I first had the song, I pretty much just had the string part and then this sample that I made in Logic before I even owned Ableton. So originally I had this drum machine part here. But it was a happy accident where I recorded it and then moved it off the grid on accident. You can actually see it here. You can see that like the downbeat is supposed to be here. And I had accidentally moved it when I was copying and pasting sections and accidentally had it create this sort of upbeat groove. The song would be so different if I had moved it over to this side.
Kept in touch with all my friends. Oh man, it's
So different.
haven't kept in touch with all my friends.
And that was just a happy accident. That's just pretty much it until everything kicks in and I double. I guess the first thing you hear is that I double the string parts with some synths here. These are not plugins because I had this also in Logic and I bounced these down. But you've seen me use these synths a bunch. There's one of the pedal plugin from, these are all 3 Arturia plugins. The pedal one is from the modular synth plugin. I have this dance bells, which I made in Vital and added to the original one. And this is a SEM, I believe. And I just have the MIDI strings going on this section here because I wanted it to feel like, I kind of wanted it to feel like the room got sucked out and that we were just sort of like in this really open, big, spacious place with, at least with the synths. So I hit these chords. Obviously we downbeat onto the madness that is all this percussion here. Bow, bow. So I have this very aggressive kick here. Very subby, but with a big click at the top of it. You can even see in the wave here. Then I have this program drum here. This is just with the kicks. This is just to give a lot of impact for that section here. So there's no real snare other than in this like sort of bit crushed sample here. This is my favorite one. It's got a bunch of auto panning and delay on here as well. This is just like a bunch of the same samples recolored and layered on top of each other. This is just to give a lot of clickies in the ear. Otherwise, it's just the kicks happening. Got some claps in there. These claps are nothing special. Just me clapping. We also have this little riser section here. I believe this is... Yeah, this is a different... So I wanted it to be... Yeah, I just completely squeezed the file originally. What is it? Oh, it's just this normally. Wait, what is this thing? Ah, it's just a little impact. I guess the next thing to move on to here is the Boz, which I literally named Boz. There's two Bozes going on here mainly. We have some sidechain happening. On both? Yeah, on both of them. So we have the sub here. And then we have a sort of like quick pan, just high-end tone bass. Really a lot of the work is happening in that sub. So yeah, in this section, I really wanted the vocals to feel washed out as hell. We got the main one that's just losing its whole thing. This guy. And then this one. So the idea is that the vocals here, if the whole song is like in this sort of doubtful place of feeling like hiding how well you're actually doing, you know, the whole concept super well, this is the part of the song that I want to break through the cracks a little bit and feel like the matrix is kind of bending a bit. And this is the only part of the song I think is the most sincere, other than in the bridge, where it's like, this person's not super well. And this is really the best glimpse you get at that. So it's supposed to feel chaotic and breaking through. So then we get into the next section, which I guess I call the bridge, apparently. And we just have some more drum samples peeking in here, just some more kits. Real simple. I still have this main progression going, but I just want it to feel a little bit lifted. The snaps are a big theme in the EP. I have snaps in every song. This section has the same patches of synths and bass, and they're all pretty in unison. We also have some strings back in at this point. And our synths, of course. All pretty unison here. So for these vocals, we kind of come back into the facade, so it's a much more cleaner, it's a much more clean vocal chain. Never you mind my bro. Little support down here. I'm all it is every day. The camera loves you in your got some harmonies. Feeling yourself in your best light. Pretty simple stuff. It's mostly stuff in unison. Feeling yourself in your best light. Then I have the double of the not okay. This section is the one that took the longest. This breakdown section. So we have this little bass sort of winding down. Oh, I love this part so much. So this section flips a little bit too in vibe. Hence the side chain in with the drums. One of my favorite parts is this really loose shaker thing. Gotta find that thing. This thing here. This is such a lovely happy accident too. I love how loose this is. So you'll see here for this whole transition as well, I want it to feel, and the reason why the sidechain comes in is because I want it to feel like two somewhat separate parts. This is another sincere moment. Vocals a little more present. Then we switch to this chain here. And the ooze. So a couple of things with those kids online section. A couple little Easter eggs is the yay from 15 Steps in the Radiohead song and all the yays that everyone uses. The whole section here is like, I'm not quite as good as those kids online. I wanted to make a reference to TikTok, and I wrote this song enough long ago that this meme I'm referencing is pretty much non-existent anymore. If you remember the whole thing, it's you that I lie with as the bombs they come walking in. You remember that thing? Anyone remember that? It's a reference to that TikTok and to how big of a fad it is here. Because then once the big sort of those kids online section hits, it's a big swell into this. Into this little denouement here. But I'm trying to create with some peace of mind. And then this is the first time where the strings do the main progression, but an octave higher. So obviously we're getting some momentum here. And we switched from pizzicato to staccato, I think. It's with the bow as opposed to the fingers. So compared to this, which is low octave and with the fingers, we have using the bow high octave. Just to add a little bit more urgency, a little more intensity to the end here. Obviously, then, too, we have the guitar part. Gets all kinds of messy. Just doubled. Thick tone. For this little like progression here, I added a synth. So it has a little heavier impact. A lot of effects going on here. I mean, they're going through digital amps being recompressed, going through OTT being recompressed, going through the RC20, getting some grit. I mean, the chain on this is disgusting and probably stupid, but it took a lot of finagling just to get it as messy as I wanted, especially this one. I want it to sound like it's really breaking through. At this point, I think it's just cruising. Vocals back in the saturated realm. You will. Yeah, so glad you're super well. And that's it. That's the whole song. What are your reverb settings on your vocals? Great question, Kaidia. Haven't slept a wink. This has no reverb on it whatsoever. It's just this echo. Haven't kept in touch. And a little bit of slapback from the vocal chain here in Ableton. It's really filtered up high. And then I have the echo bay also synced, but to 16ths. So it kind of feels like the 16ths hit the echo mainly, and then the 30 seconds hit as like the high pitch part of it. Haven't slept a wink since I said I'd just to give it some texture. I don't think reverb really hits until this section. This is obviously a massive reverb, and of course I'm using Valhalla. Massive. Without that, pretty standard stuff going on in this chain. Let's just go through it verbatim. We start with a de-esser. Never take your word. This is a really standard EQ that I pretty much never touch For my mic and my voice, this is a not bad place to cut. I have a little bit of a dip up here and then a slight boost around the like probably 8K. It's pretty mild EQ happening here. It's just for the voices coming in, for the voice that's coming in. Runs through this Ableton compressor, hits the dynamic tube, which I think is like, if you're using Ableton for your vocal processing, this dynamic tube is huge for making your vocals just sound even slightly more bright. The OTT, which is tied to this brightness tab here, this OTT is being parallel compressed. So I'm getting both the dry signal and the OTT signal. And this bright signal just means like how much is the bright versus how much is the dry signal. And I just macroed all this meticulously through one piece at a time. We have this glue compressor, which means we have the dry, a regular compression, and then the glue compression, which I got this setting specifically from, what is his name? Yes, Reed Stefan, thank you. I got this patch directly from Reed Stefan, so I can't take credit for it. But I use the parallel compression idea with the OTT as well. So each of these compressors are running at the same time. This is just the dry, so there's no compressor on there. Here's just a regular compression. And then the glue compressor, which is just built into Ableton as well. And all three of these are balanced within this glue section here. So if bright is between regular vocal and OTT, glue is through the bright and the regular vocal compared to the glue compression. After that, we've got our built-in delays, which I don't think I used any on this particular channel. I also stole these from Reed Stefan. Basic slap, basic half, basic quarter, basic 18th, or eighth, I mean. After that are these reverb patches, which I mainly just use for this section. No, I don't use any of them for this section either. It's 100% dry. I think this particular session has nothing on the master, yeah, because I sent this off to a mixer. I did not mix this song myself. Unless I'm mixing something myself and mastering something myself. I don't like to write and produce with it all on because it gives it a false sense of volume and dynamics. I want everything that feels naturally dynamic as possible until I send it off to a mixer personally. And it's also my type of music. You know, there's a lot of dynamics in my music, hopefully and typically. So I don't usually have anything on the master while I'm producing. Stuff that I'm not going to mix. Anyway, thank you so much for checking this out. If you want to see more breakdowns from my songs, let me know in the comments. Let me know which song you want to hear. If you haven't heard the EP yet, that is definitely in the description. Go listen to it. Tell me what you think of that too. Twitch chat, please tell everyone to subscribe to my YouTube. You see it yourself. Subscriber suffer the consequences. They said it, not me.